Pre-talk 3. What is hypnosis? Scientific visual version. Some clients will ask a lot of questions and really want to know the details of hypnosis, the mechanics of it, how it works. They want to analyze it, and they won't be ready to experience hypnosis until they get some answers to your questions. Sometimes they'll say or look like, "Can't really see what you mean," or "I can't really grasp it." So for these people, I'd keep a laminated sheet with some graphs and some words and say, "Take a look at this, grab a hold of this." And then I'd take them through some of the details as well. So hypnosis is based on the observation that we have a conscious mind and we have a subconscious mind. Each of these have different features. So if you look at the graph, you'll see the conscious mind has a short-term memory, analyzes, sets goals, and makes decisions. Where our subconscious mind is our automatic bodily processes. It has our medium and long-term memory and our emotions. It's where we dream and where we program in our habits and behaviors, and we have our beliefs and identity. You can see in this chart that there's a barrier between the conscious and the subconscious mind. It wouldn't be helpful to be aware of all that our body is doing and to be constantly aware of our long-term memory. And yet there are times we want to access the subconscious mind, so hypnosis creates a pathway past the critical barriers. Now, these critical barriers are just things that when we're going through life, we have to assess. Do I trust this person? Does what they're saying make sense? So even the fact that they're asking you to explain hypnosis means they've got a critical barrier still up, and they need more explanation for them to feel comfortable to lower it. Also, that's why rapport is so important in interviews and these pre-talks, because if you're in rapport with somebody, they'll tend to lower their critical barrier. And a critical barrier can protect us many times, but sometimes it can protect us from the help that we need. So it's in their interest to lower that barrier. There's also a critical barrier in the subconscious mind. So this is counteracting the myth that if you're in a hypnotic state, someone can take control of you. This critical barrier is one of the reasons why it's important to do a lengthy interview so you can find out what the values, beliefs, and decisions of the client are. It's because you don't want to accidentally give them suggestions that are not acceptable to them. And the only way you're going to find out is by asking them through that process. And that's because they won't just accept any suggestion you give to them because they're in hypnosis. It has to be in alignment with their decisions. So now we can relate this back to age regression and say, age regression uses hypnosis to access your subconscious, which holds your longer-term memories, the emotional residues, the limiting beliefs, and the program behaviors. So that brings us to subconscious tendency 5. If there's a conflict between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, the subconscious tends to win. So this is where, on one hand, we want to make a change and go in a new direction, but on the other hand, we're used to going in a certain way. So for example, we may decide and consciously know that we don't need to be afraid of dogs anymore. And yet we can find that we automatically pull back and have a fear feeling inside of us, even though we know it's silly, that our friend's dog is not the dangerous dog that we met 25 years ago when we were a little child. At that time, it was reasonable and helpful to have a fear of dogs, but we know now that we don't need that, but try as we might, it's hard to get rid of it. We can't think our way or analyze our way out of that fear. So that's an example where our fear of dogs is in our long-term memory. There's a strong emotional residue of fear. That limiting belief is dogs are scary and dangerous, and our program behavior is the physiological response of pulling back from dogs. So a lot of hypnotherapy is about resolving a conflict between the conscious and subconscious mind. And the conflict between our conscious decision and our subconscious programming, our conscious decision's often going to lose out. So what we want to do is create a pathway to the subconscious and update our old programming. So instead of being outdated and now working against us, it becomes in alignment with what we want to do and now works for us. So now we've got this chart. We've got our conscious mind and our subconscious mind, and the 3 different states, sleeping, waking, and hypnotic. So we can see in a hypnotic state, we're not unconscious, we're not asleep. Our conscious mind remains awake and aware, but it's in the background. Our subconscious mind comes to the forefront and takes control so we can use its abilities and get it to work for us. This is a nice visual way of representing that, so you can see that hypnosis isn't unconsciousness. In fact, in hypnosis, you're more aware because you can gain access to both aspects of your mind.